What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to Dirt Track Features. I'm Chris Moore. Today we're on our way to Millsboro, Delaware to talk to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Brett Deyo. He's recently taken on FONDA Speedway, obviously the promoter, creator, founder of the Short Track Super Series, brought to you by Bob Hilbert Sportswear, and also the promoter at the Georgetown Speedway. So we're going to talk to him about that and a lot more in this episode of Dirt Track Features. All right, welcome back to Dirt Track Features, everybody. Here with Brett Deyo. Brett, thanks for having us.
Thanks for coming down here to coastal Delaware.
Yeah, right?
It's a little further than you thought, huh?
Yeah, no, that's when I figured you'd be a little closer to Georgetown. But
yeah, we want our little vacation time here when we get done racing.
It's not a bad spot to be during the summer.
No, definitely not. We've gotten a lot more visitors since I moved here. I gained some friends.
It's a little better than Boyertown.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, boy, I was really excited for this. Just because there's so much to talk about. You just continue to grow, continue to do more, but I think we got to start with the new endeavor. Fonda is yours now, basically. I mean, you're the man in charge. How exciting is that? Are there nerves?
I read the Fonda book, which is really cool. It's 400 pages of history, and the promoter there, one of the past promoters said you're just a caretaker of the history of Fonda, and that's really the way I look at it. I mean, the place has so much going for it over the years. In 1955, Junior Johnson wins the Fonda 200. Richard Petty twice, David Pearson. That's a track with so much history, and the opportunity came up a few years ago, but I probably wasn't ready at that time, and when it came up again last year, we went back and the fair board people were pretty much the same, and I was just balder and fatter, and they welcomed me this time. And are there nerves? Anytime you do something new, it makes you nervous, and probably more so than when I got Georgetown, because I didn't know all the things that could go wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Now we've got 3 years of running a track and all the wiring and water chucks that break and the things that people don't even think about.
Right. Yeah.
I'm nervous, but I'm anxious too. I mean, it's a big responsibility. It's one of those iconic tracks.
How does it come about? Because I didn't even know that Fonda was up, for, I don't want to say for sale, but was out there to be promoted. I mean, how does that come about? And did you get the call because of your experience at Georgetown, or? They
knew that I had been interested in it 3 years ago. The fair board being they. It is a fair board run track. It's a fairgrounds. So that was one. And I have a lot of friends that race there. Obviously, Angela Hansen works for me, and she was working there. The Friesens live 10 minutes from there. So I've gone up and spent some time at their places, and so I knew that there was some trouble there last year as far as financially and some other things that needed to be rectified.
Right.
And they were struggling a little bit. So when the opportunity came, I put a proposal together, and it was an hour and 37 minutes of straight presenting to the fair board before we got it done, and we got there, and it's a big transition, for us, and having two tracks, and there's some nights we're back to back, Delaware Friday and New York on Saturday, so it's going to be a lot.
It's not a small gap between the two. I mean, it's 5 hours from my house to go to Fonda, and it was about an hour and a half to get here. So
yeah, it's about a 6 hour ride. I mean, there's going to be some weeks that I stay up there, and there'll be some weeks that I come back. I mean, there's some gaps in the Georgetown schedule where I have enough racing in New York with my series that I can just stay. And then there'll be weeks that I'm down here, and Jamie and Denise Page, who are going to be basically managers at Fonda, will be up there. Right. So it'll be a kind of an alternating schedule, and I'm looking forward to being back up there. I grew up in New York, and that was kind of our vacation place when I was a kid, all the lakes and stuff up there. So that's kind of enticing to me too. So another question that I wanted to ask was why? Georgetown is doing well. Now, granted, it's pretty much once a month about for the most part. I'm sure you'd like to be able to do more, but you've got Del Mar and everything, and you've got the series, and the series is, especially once you get into May, June, July. I mean, you've got something with the series all the time. So why? Market share was one. We have all these races up that way, Afton, Accord, Thunder Mountain. Right. So the more cars on a weekly basis we can get into our rules package, the more cars we have access to for our specials during the week.
Right.
American Racer's done a lot of good for me over the years, and this is a big chance to get them back in the Capital District / Central New York.
Right.
And it's a challenge. I do get bored easy. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. And the weeks that I wasn't doing stuff, I kind of got bored. You can only go out on the boat so many times and only drink so much beer before your body tells you no. So
Right,
I really wanted to do something again weekly. And the nice thing about Fonda, short season. We start in April and we run until August 10th is our last night of points, because
Right.
you have to shut down early there for the fair. And then we come back in September. So it's not one of these seasons where we're starting in March and run into November.
Right.
It's a shorter season, and again, it's a new challenge, and I'm excited to see how many people up there are embracing our rules. They're getting small block engines. They're they're ordering different non-dirt legal bodies. They're gearing up for what we're doing, and it's not necessarily that we're on an island. I mean, we're joining however many American Racer Cup tracks
Right.
are already up that way.
Right. So a lot of people are excited about this, but there's some people that aren't too happy about it as well. We know, the elephant in the room, obviously dirt, there's a whole thing now. Does that, bother you at all? Because dirt has been around longer. It's still a fairly
Right.
decent sized entity.
It's you don't ever want to fight with anybody.
Right.
But I'm pretty good at minding my own business. You see where I live. I'm down here kind of on my own, and they kind of took exception to what we're doing there, because it is taking a bite out of their market share, just like I had talked about.
Yeah.
This has happened many times over the years. You look back at Alex Friesen when he was at his height, before his tragedy, and he was not on Glenn Donnelly's favorite list. And when USNA came in, I think we can both coexist because we're different.
Right.
We're very different. We're different bodies, different engines in a lot of ways, different tires. I think it probably was a reaction to some of their constituents that they lost business for at Fonda.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I've told everybody, when I walked out of the waiting room there at Fonda after my presentation, no one else was in it. So pretty much, anybody could have made a bid,
Right.
or anybody could have tried to get the track. I was the only one that did.
Right.
And Charlie Cathell from Del Mar's been around a long time, and he told me the list of people getting rid of tracks is a lot longer than the people getting them. So they had the same opportunity I did to try and get it, and they didn't, and that's why we went the way we went.
But you do see a resolution, a possible resolution, obviously.
I think we can we can coexist. I don't think we have any. I got along very well with Mike Perotti when he was the series director, because he was a pretty stand-up guy, and I was disappointed to see him go, because even if he had news for me that he knew I wouldn't like, he still told me. And I don't see that now. I don't see that stand-up integrity that there was there before. So it's harder to come to a resolution when you don't have that. But I'm willing to work with anybody, and I'd love to see them non-conflict with us all the time, and we would do the same for them. We've done it for years, and obviously the Fonda 200 weekend is the quote-unquote battleground. But I'm excited no matter how it goes, because I know we're going to have a lot of good cars there.
Well, that was going to be my next. That was again, a lot of people excited about the Fonda 200. You just announced $53,000 to win. That's a lot of money, so I might be there. No, I'm just kidding. You got it conflicting with Bridgeport, but anyway.
Oh, here we go.
no, but $53,000. That's a lot of money. That's more than dirt pays for Oswego. That's.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And you look at, I look at what everybody does across the country. Obviously, what Cody Summers done with his major events, Mansfield caught my eye, and the late model teams race for that type of money quite a bit.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but quite a bit.
Right.
So there is a financial model to do it, and Fonda has the pit road. Fonda has the camping. It's got more than 5,000 seats. These are all things that you need to put on a race of that stature.
Yeah.
And I remember when Grandview did the $50,000 to win, in celebration of their 50th year there, and that was just an event you wanted to be part of. I think I didn't even pull out of my driveway in Boyertown. I just walked there. So
you probably would have been stuck in traffic.
Exactly. So I think I wanted to hit 50,000. Everyone said, why 53? Well, the track's been operating consistently since 53.
Right.
So that's kind of the 53 number. It's a major purse. We're looking at probably close to 130, 140,000, but it's a huge opportunity. For the 40 guys that start that race, or girls, Jessica Zemke and Amanda Whaley are welcome. It's going to be a huge deal to be part of, and I want to make sure that the Saturday is hype. We only did modified and sportsman, so we can really build that crescendo up to the 200. And it's an event I wanted to do for a long time as far as 50,000 to win, but I needed to build up to it. This is my 13th year doing this, and you can't just throw 50 grand out your first year. You need to be prepared to do it.
Right. So and it's a 3-day event, right?
Yes.
So do you have I'm sure you have an idea as far as the schedule for that week.
Thursday, because of the way Fonda is, there's one main gate. So I want to let trailers come in and, campers and stuff Thursday, and we'll also have open practice because there will be a lot of new teams.
Right.
Friday night we'll have qualifying Daytona 500 style. We're going to do time warm-ups and then split them into qualifying races that'll set 1 to 30 in the feature event.
Right.
We also have Patriot Sprints on Friday night, which will be great, 360 sprints, Pro Stock, Street Stock, 4-cylinder. Saturday we come back with a full show for the sportsman and a B main, which will set the final 6 qualifying spots in the main, and then the 200. So it'll be a packed weekend. We do have Sunday for a rain date. That's why Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because
so
it does
Sunday
tend to rain on me a lot. So I kind of want to be prepared. You're right.
It rained a lot on everybody.
It'll be, we want to build it so we had a built-in Sunday, because there aren't many weekends in the fall, like we kind of touched on. There's so much racing that I don't really have a whole big place to go with it. So I want to make sure we can get it in that weekend if possible.
So transitioning now, still kind of with Fonda, the Short Track Super Series is now going to Fonda. This is your 6th year
Year 6 for the series, yes.
So, nice shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
But there was rumors, I believe you said this, but that there was kind of going to be a step back now, just to not anything big, but a small step back, obviously, with Fonda now. How big of a step back is it?
We didn't really cut as much as I thought we would. I thought we would trim the schedule. Yeah, it's just it's hard to take away an event from a track that wants it.
Right.
And 99% of our tracks wanted our event, and it was hard for us to really trim a little. I mean, I think our schedule, I think it's 9 and 8, is pretty reasonable.
It was 10 and 8 last year.
10 and 8,
right?
correct.
Yeah.
Yep. And we added Fonda, which was exciting for us. We brought New Egypt back, which I haven't been there since 2016. And then, we moved a few things around. Del Mar was very difficult on Memorial Day weekend, just because of the traffic, the sheer volume of traffic.
Yeah.
2 years in a row, we had a sunny day and started at 8:10 because people couldn't get there.
Right.
So we moved even earlier. We're going to kick off midweek racing at Del Mar, which should be great for the car count.
Right.
Because in April, everybody's still anxious to go.
Right.
So that's exciting. Moving Port Royal to the spring, we were in between Dirt Week festivities and Eastern States last year, and still pulled almost 40 cars to a track that didn't have any.
Right.
So it's pretty enticing what we could do in the spring when people are really excited. So that's good. Orange County beginning and end again for our North Series. Super Nationals back at Afton since they're getting new clay.
Right.
So I'm excited about that for the camping and partying part of it. And, it's a really nice destination for people.
Yeah.
A lot of exciting things. A traditional Memorial Day at Thunder Mountain. We did July 3rd at Fonda on TV this year, along with the Beach Blast will be on MAV TV. So those are all big things. The schedule is
you're 2 MAV TV.
2 MAV TV
Okay,
this
I
year.
thought it was just Fonda.
We're doing North and South this year.
Okay.
That way all of our competitors get on. But it's our schedule, we need to be manageable because all our people, for the most part, work.
Right.
We can't go race 4 nights in Quebec or something because we wouldn't have any cars. But, it makes it manageable for people, and I think that's why our car count, we were 43.7 last year, even with 70% of our events affected by rain.
Is that combined? Like
that was combined.
All of them?
Yep, 43.7. And our sportsman crate car count was above 38.
Yeah.
So those are pretty impressive numbers when you start and sit down and look at what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
So.
Now, 2019, obviously, we're hoping for no rain, right? I mean,
yeah, I hope so.
It's gotta be hard for you living, as you say, as far out of here that you do, and having to travel as much as you do. That rain plays such a factor in things. I mean, I know Big Diamond. That was one of the things we want to talk about, the North versus South race. But this past year, I mean, that was brutal. That no rain in the forecast. Everybody drives up there, it rains. And then you find a day for a makeup date, and then
it rains again.
Right. Well, then there wasn't the forecast for it to rain, and it didn't.
Yeah. You can't win. I mean, the Big Diamond, that was going to be our breakout night at Big Diamond. Yeah. We had 50 cars, the best 50 cars. The parking lot was full of people tailgating. You knew that was going to be the night that we all thought that race could be.
Yeah.
And then here we are doing the draw at the drivers' meeting, and a cloud comes over, and it didn't stop. We were there for an hour and a half cleaning up, and it just didn't stop. So that race, I think people know what they missed last year, and that's going to be big. Big Diamond's a perfect place for that race.
It is.
It's a middle ground. It's a middle-sized track. Even the people from our Southern Series that like the bigger tracks, not too small, and the people from our Northern Series that would prefer to run on a quarter mile of that court. It's a perfect place. And I've had a good relationship with Jake. Jake's a little bit like me in that he stays away from everything. He kind of does his own thing, and we get along, and that's why I continue to do it. And I believe one of these years that's going to be major. We just have not had any luck with the weather, but what can you do? I mean, we can't control that.
Yeah, so. I drove, me and a buddy, we drove all the way up there 3 hours. Didn't rain the whole way. I'm looking, because it was cloudy on our way up, and nothing to forecast. We're good. We're good.
Yeah,
we got like 10 minutes away, and it was pouring, and it just.
When we put out the list the next day of the 50 modifieds that have registered, people's jaws just dropped at what they missed, because it was just Delaware, Maryland, upstate New York. I mean, we had everybody, anybody that was anybody was there that night, and it's just, man, it was disappointing. But you know, it shows what we can do this year, and I mean, I'm looking forward to going back there. I've always liked it. You know, I announced at Big Diamond for a while and stuff, and I've always enjoyed going there.
So short track super, we touched on MAV TV for a little bit. How'd you get into that? I mean, was that something you started looking into, or?
Yeah, that's been a few years. I mean, I feel like our racing is really good, and our highlight videos at the banquet showed that. But I want more than just the people there to see that, and that's why we tiptoed into the pay-per-view for our events. And then the MAV TV was like the ultimate for us. And then to have a slide job pass on the last lap coming to, I mean, that was just great. Perfect. But I think it's good for the series for sponsorship. You know, and the more sponsorship we can get, the more we can pay, which is going to benefit the drivers. Yeah, it's good for their sponsors because they're on TV.
I was going to say that was one of the things I texted my brother's sponsor. I'm like, hey, your car's going to be on TV.
Yeah, you know, it's a big deal, and it shows. It brings us from here to here. You know, professionally, and I mean, every major organization's on TV, and you know, Georgetown was a good tiptoe into it because it was my track, and we could move lights around, and it's a lot of work, and it's a big investment. I mean, it's a 5-figure investment for the promoter to do it for a single event. So then this year, having Fonda, now it gets our North Crate Sportsman and Modifieds on, and our South Crate Sportsman and Modifieds on. So then all of our participants are going to have their chance to be on TV. And I'd like to do more. I mean, I'll be honest with you, if I could afford it, I would do more. It's just, it's great exposure. I mean, and I get people texting me all the time, hey, it's replaying on MAV again. You know, it's great. You know, and I always ask them who won. You know, like, I don't know if it changes, but it's just,
I don't think it works.
Yeah, it doesn't. But it's a great thing for the series. And like I said, I'm going to do more if I can. And then, you know, some of these events where I partner with the different tracks, if they're interested in partnering with me financially, I would do more.
Do more of the MAV TV.
Do more TV. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, have you gotten feedback from them as far, because obviously the racing was great. Yeah. Have you gotten feedback from them as far as the viewership?
Yes, it's been very good. You know, even the replays have been good. So that shows that there's an interest. I mean, you look back to what Donnelly did back in the day, is so far ahead of his time. The rush hour on dirt and all that.
Those are on YouTube.
Absolutely.
I watched a bunch of those on YouTube.
I mean, they were so far. And Glenn, I mean, I've had some meetings with Glenn over the years, and Glenn told me, Brett, if you're going to be legitimate, you got to get on TV. And that's always been in my head. And, you know, we did it. You know, we did it, and we did it well. I mean, we put on a good show. We started a little late that night because the promoter didn't want any dust, you know, but as it turned out, we had a heck of a surface for the feature, which was great.
The racing was awesome. That was the night that Watt flipped, wasn't it?
Yeah, come back. We had so much. We had Presley in the trees as an arborist.
That was
checking
scary.
things out.
That was scary,
so much going on, and it was crazy. And then the sportsman race had some controversy at the end. It was one of those nights that
my dad was not happy with the controversy.
But yeah, I mean, everything. What more could you want for a TV show?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We had our own Delaware Madhouse for a night. You know,
I'm in the sports night, and these guys that like work for TV networks, they're like, I don't root for anybody. I just root for interesting.
Right.
You know, like, you don't care who wins that night. Just give me some good racing.
Oh, it was just, and that's how that night was. It was just, you know, Van Horn sponsoring the night, and then his car wouldn't run, comes from 24th to the third or fourth. Yeah. Just, there's so much that happened. Hopefully we can recreate that again next year, because it's only going to bring more people, you know, to the stand. And that's what I'm not against all this Facebook stuff that a lot of promoters are, because if you get a sample of your product out there, it may bring people in. And that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, I've been joking you're the guy like single-handedly trying to save modified racing in Northeast, and that's, I mean, getting on TV is a big part of it.
Absolutely.
So we're going to jump in. We came up with this idea, me and Dylan did actually on our way to do Ryan Watt's interview, some rapid-fire questions. So we've got 6 rapid-fire, 20 seconds. Shouldn't take you that long. They're mostly pretty easy. We're going to start for the ones aren't racing related. So 6 non-racing related questions.
I don't know if I'm ready for this.
I think you can do it. They're pretty easy. At least the non-racing ones are. I think the racing ones you might struggle with a little bit. So, but we'll start. Ready? Hamburgers or hot dogs?
Hamburgers.
Beer or liquor?
Definitely beer.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Favorite sport that isn't racing?
I don't really watch anything.
No?
No, I don't. No. Drinking a sport?
Drinking games?
Yeah, drinking games. There you go.
Dog or cat?
Cat, definitely.
I got the impression. Favorite music genre?
Country. Classic country.
Classic country? You don't like the new stuff?
No, I do like it, but I prefer a classic. Yeah.
I can see you as a cat guy. You look like a cat guy.
Yeah, well, I got a couple. So
Is that Heather or you?
that was me.
That was you?
Yeah, I have a soft spot for animals. I like them more than people.
I think most people, the older you get, the more it's animals.
Exactly.
Heather, I want to talk about Heather because, I mean, how into racing was she before you? I mean,
Never saw a race.
Nothing.
Never saw a race. The first race I took her to, I was working for Area Auto when I was editing for them. I took her to Hagerstown for the Oktoberfest because I knew it wouldn't be dusty. You know, it was a day show, and I didn't want to blast her out with dust the very first day. So it's different for her. You know what I mean? She handles a lot of the money stuff on race night.
Okay.
You know, as far as money in, payout, all that stuff. Right. Where I'm more involved in the show and the people end of it.
Yeah.
But it's hard. You know, it's hard for anybody to try and make a living this way because you can do the same thing in 2 years in a row and have a $20,000 different outcome just because of the forecast or scheduling or whatever. So it is hard because she was a banker. So you can imagine that's a pretty precise way to make a living as far as, and our deal is just to roll the dice every time we open. But she handles it well, and I think the thing that bothers her the most is how critical people are, because she sees that 11 o'clock at night when I'm still at Georgetown, doing stuff, and then people the next day complain. So that's hard. I'm a little more hardened to it because I understand that's all part of culture.
Right. It's
and it's not just racing. It's restaurant business. It's any
everything.
Entertainment business.
Everything.
So I'm a little harder to it than she is.
Right. Well, but she's got to be into it. Like, she has to. Yeah, this wouldn't work if she wasn't.
No, and she does go along with it well, and she has people that she likes to talk to and does her stuff, and she doesn't like to be up front of it at all. Obviously, she kind of just like today, she's out of here, but that's kind of I'm the front person, but she race night is her night that she kind of shines as far as doing all the clerical stuff.
Right. Well, I've noticed. Jeff now, obviously the Super Series announcer, he throws in Brett and Heather Deyo now. I think a lot of people think of just Brett.
Right.
And this is the two of you.
It's a big commitment. I mean, it's not a normal lifestyle.
No, not at all.
I mean, we take the boat out on a Tuesday because that's our day off. On the weekends we're racing or doing this or doing that. It's just a very different, and it's hard to do stuff with like her family and stuff because you're never around.
Tell them to come to the races.
Well, they have come a little bit and checked it out, and that's cool, bringing new people in.
Right.
But yeah, it was a big change for her, definitely.
I was gonna say, I mean, they've got newspapers in here, one of them that captured "Tough Way to Make a Living," and she signed right up for it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and I've been working pretty much full time in racing since 2013. I did work at Area Auto out of college, so that's quite a while to do it. Especially our story. When I first promoted my first race, I only had $200. That's all I had. I mean, we rolled the dice at Afton in 2006 and put a $30,000 purse up, and I had 200. And I prayed really hard. Now obviously over the years things have changed. Yeah. But we didn't start. I wasn't handed a business. We made a business. Right. And that's why I respect so many people like Donnelly or Alex Friesen or Ted Johnson from the World of Outlaws, because they built an empire. Yeah. Some of the people I'm competing with now bought an empire. Right. And that's very different.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's very different.
Yeah. So let's get into kind of the old guard now. Georgetown's kind of the old dog now. What kind? Are we going to see many changes?
Georgetown. I like to do a couple projects every year. Because obviously there was a lot of projects to be done. When we got the track, our very first weekend, we had to take 7 roll-off dumpsters worth of junk out of there. Yeah. That was just weekend 1. And over the time, a lot of the things that we spent money on, people didn't see, but electrical boxes, rewiring, the clay.
System.
Oh yeah, sound system. The transponder system, the lap counter. We in 2 years we did 330 loads of clay. I mean, that's huge. Right. It's not a small track.
No.
And we constantly working on the lighting. This year we built a new entranceway, ticket booth. We're putting inside walls in, getting rid of the Uke tires, which is people are going to be very happy about because going that speed, tires move, walls don't. And you can come around and hit a tire that wasn't even there the lap before.
Right. Yeah.
So that's a big project. Continuing our lighting improvements. And then the thing about Georgetown is it's special. Because when you open it up, it's special. I mean, it's got that feeling to it. We've got the tailgaters. We've got the people who have been there since the 60s. We've got the young kids that bring a lot of beer. And it's awesome, It's just...
You want to bring some beer?
Yeah, every now and then.
I got you.
But no, it's really cool. It's got a good atmosphere. The turn 1 people are rowdy. They have a heck of a good time. The people in front of the tower, a lot of them have been going there for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And it was very sad to see that place fall apart. It really was, because it's got history. It was NASCAR sanctioned. I mean, when Bobby Allison comes there and talks about the great times that he had at Georgetown, that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, it's not every day.
The biggest thing is to keep the event special, which we have done this year. We've kind of alternated modifieds and super late models.
Right.
That way, each group of fans gets their excitement. The big beginning of the year, end of the year shows, the MAV TV for the Beach Blast. The monster trucks were huge last year, and that brought us new people that came back to the races because they come over and told me that, and that's cool. You know, it's cool to see that.
That's what it's about.
You know, and then obviously our late model program this year, we're going on sanction 12,000 to win, and that was just, you know, the reaction at PRI. You know, guys like you know Hollage and Covert and these regional guys. I mean, they got a real good shot at 12 grand. And it's going to be interesting because it's on our own, and we can put our own twists into it.
You can do your own thing.
So I'm excited about that. You know, the late models deserve it, and they pull a good crowd, and it'll be cool to see the Ross Robinson and Amanda and Lingo and those guys go head to head with the Invaders, and maybe we'll have a local win. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, the World of Outlaws. I mean, they come in. And I still, well, probably one of my favorite moments this year was, because I was there, I was in the stands, was when Amanda said fast time in warm-up.
Oh,
the whole
crowd went crazy. I mean, the year that Hubbard got second, I really thought the grandstand would go down if he won, because the people were just going crazy. And you know, the late models, I am a late model guy. I like them. I enjoy. I mean, I went to Potomac, and we've gotten to be really good friends with Potomac and Winchester. You know, they come down to Ocean City, and it's nice to be friends with your neighbor tracks like that, because we work together on our schedules. And you know, I've gone to Potomac 3 or 4 times last year just on Friday nights to watch, because I enjoy it, and I like the simplicity of it. You know, there's not a whole lot of crazy rules. And this track you can do this, that track. You know, it's a cool, and they've been good to me at Georgetown. They supported me. I mean, our unsanctioned races were getting 28 cars in Delaware on a Friday. You know what I mean? So how can
and they're racing the next night at Delaware.
And why do they get the chance to race for 12 grand? That's why, because they always support me. Just like the modifieds. I mean, they have a lot of good paying races at Georgetown. The opener, it's going to be $49 per lap. That's $2,500 on top of the $7,000 we're already paying, on top of the $4,000 we're paying Friday night. That's good money for an opening race in March. And why do we do it? Because you got guys that support you all the time. You know, like the PA New Jersey cars have jumped through hoops to support Georgetown.
And you get New York guys too now. I mean, Shepard was at all of them except one.
Shepard really enjoyed it. I mean, obviously Perego enjoys Georgetown. Becchetti loves Georgetown. You know, Friesen's won a race each of the years that I've had it, and most of the time it's not a series race. You know, he comes down just to race. And then what's cool about it is you get a guy like Jordan Watson, H.J. Bunning, those guys that are running up front too. You know what I mean? And
you get a good mix.
And then you throw in Craig Von Doren, Jimmy Horton, Dwayne Howard. You know, you go down to Neil Williams. You go down the list of all these invaders. It's such a cool. And then when the Delaware cars run well now, like Jordan Justice at the end of the year, he got really good. Well, he's down there in the redraw stand alongside Von Doren and stuff. It's just a thrill for them, and it's making the state of Delaware's racing better, because they're clashing with the best in the Northeast. And then the next week when they go to Del Mar, I bet you they're a little tougher because they learned something. So that's what's cool about Georgetown. It's an all-star race every race. It really is.
Georgetown, the first race, you know, the opener. The Melvin Joseph Memorial is probably one of my favorite weekends of the year. I mean, you had 50 cars, crates, and modified this past year. It was snowing.
Yeah, it sure was.
I remember Dave Schilling pulls in and there's snow on the top of his car. And these guys make the hike and they come down. And
that's a very special race, because Melvin Joseph has done so much for Delaware. I mean, he's a guy that engineered the construction of Dover. He built Georgetown. I mean, a lot of the projects we do, where do you get equipment to do them from? You know, Kenny Adams across the street at Melvin Joseph. That's a big weekend for them, and the whole 49 team. I mean, this year we're 69-49 for the mods, 40-49. We raised it to 1490 for the crates, which is almost 1500. 1049 for the rush, plus the 49 a lap. I mean, all that theme, and you know, it's such a cool. When you look at what Melvin Joseph did over the years, I mean, it's astounding, and to have his name on it is a big deal to me. You know.
And it, like I said, it does really well. I mean, to have over 100 cars between two classes is a lot.
So. It's honestly one of our bigger events of the year.
Well,
you know, as far as attendance. And last year, you know, we had all the politicians there last year to declare the Speedway a historic site, and here they are standing in the rain, looking at all these crazy race fans in the grandstand that didn't mind being there in the rain and snow. You know,
if I remember right, it was a pretty good race.
Oh yeah, with Watt and Shepard. It was great.
That was awesome. So, World of Outlaws, you've got the late models there.
Well, we did. We're going on our own, but that's been a good thing for the track, because it put us on a national stage. And now doing it on our own, you know, everybody knows the date. You know, everyone knows August, Thursday night. Now we're going from 10,000 to 12,000 to win. And I think it's going to attract, I know Eckert and those guys, they really enjoy coming because then they can go to the beach. There's a lot of other things they can do. Dan Stone, he was supporting us a lot. Obviously Hollage, those guys, they've really stepped up for us. And I think with or without the World of Outlaws, 12,000 to win for 40 laps, we're going to have some cars. Yeah, so that'll be cool.
The sprint cars, I mean, has there been any look into that?
We have. I've looked into some 410 stuff. The very hard part about 410 racing is they're paid very well in an hour around Harrisburg. Yeah. So they don't really need to go anywhere to make money. The Posse guys have so many high-paying races. I talked to Freddie Raymer about it because I would have loved to gotten him involved at Georgetown. But he said it's hard even for Lenny Salmons anymore to get him to go from Harrisburg to New Egypt for his big race because they're so spoiled close to home. So whatever we did or do at some point at Georgetown is going to be pretty spectacular to be able to get all those.
Yeah, because you got to bring them.
You got to bring them down. Now the URC has done a good job. Last year they worked very hard and got us a good field. Now this year we're tiptoeing into the USAC. The East Coast, which will be a first time.
We had them at Bridgeport, and they put on a really good show.
That's it. I think with as heavy as Georgetown can be, as far as it holds its tackiness, especially in the summer when it's humid down here. I think they'll be able to back them in, and it should be a pretty good show. And we're actually we're teaming that up with the modifieds for 3,000 to win, so it's going to be a little bit of both best of both worlds for that night.
So a lot, Georgetown, Fonda, all kinds of stuff. We got one more set of rapid fire questions for you. These are the racing related ones. I'm excited for these. Although you ruined one, you might have seen me throw one of these up at Dylan. You ruined one, but we'll go for it. And we're going to cut your time though. We'll give you 16 seconds for this one.
Got it.
Because you ruined one. So anyway, Georgetown or Fonda?
As far as racing, Georgetown.
Georgetown.
For now. Stay tuned.
Favorite race of 2018?
The favorite race that we had, I would say probably the Beach Blast for Atmosphere.
Modifieds or late models?
Modifieds.
North region or South region?
North region.
Okay. Favorite track to visit on the Short Track Super Series?
Woodhull, by hands down.
Announcing or promoting?
Announcing is more fun.
I can attest. Well, I can't attest to promoting. It's probably less stress.
Yeah, a little bit less stress.
So, a couple more things. We touched on the Monster Truck Show. You started that last year. Obviously, Bridgeport was kind of the first through the wall on that. Everybody saw how well it did.
Yeah.
And
in ours, we really hit two different demographics. We marketed it very differently. Friday night, we marketed more to like the western part of the state, Maryland, and then Saturday night, we marketed to the beach. Two different radio stations, two completely different, and we saw two different crowds, which I thought was very encouraging. And some of those people came back, and actually,
second night.
and actually came back for other races. And actually, one of the marketing people at Dover, they brought their kids and actually called me, and we ended up doing a partnership after that with Dover at the track, just because they saw how many people were there. So it's a good way to showcase the track to a different crowd, and it was honestly crazy. We had very far over 1,500 people in the rain on Friday night. If that was a race, there'd be 280. You know what I mean? I was looking down during the national anthem, seeing people sitting with their umbrellas up in the rain. And then the Saturday night we actually hit capacity, which was pretty awesome. And
it's hard to do.
And they were everybody was so nice, and the monster truck people did a really good job because it was new to me. This year I come back with some different ideas. We're bringing in the Quad Wars that you see on Monster Jam. So I've already started working on that and selling tickets. So that's going to be a big night.
I was going to say, how tough is that? Because you're a racing guy.
It was actually very stressful leading up to it because you needed to get everything set up and crush cars and glass and all that stuff. When it started, they ran the show, and I went up on the top of the tower and had a beer, to be very honest with you, because it was we had so many. We brought in a lot of our series officials. Even like Dave Pace, it's one of our tech guys. He came down just to make sure everyone was parking good because we knew it was going to be chaotic. So once showtime started, I just enjoyed it like the rest of the people, and it was
got in for free, right?
It was impressive. Well, it was a little more expensive than free, but no, they do a great job, and I think we can bring some of their entertainment ideas into racing. Well,
I know like NASCAR was trying with Monster. Monster's been bringing in a bunch of stuff. They got a bunch of. I went to Dover this year. I mean, they've got zip lining before the race. One of the places they had motocross doing jumps and stuff.
It's a changing culture. It's an changing entertainment culture.
People have to be entertained from the moment
when they get there to when they leave.
People anymore aren't fine with sitting in the grandstands watching a water truck go.
No, it's definitely changed. So and that's one of my big things. I mean, you see at Georgetown, no intermission. You know, when we were ready to go. I mean, I've sent the 4-cylinders out right behind the water truck as a clue to get them off. You know, because you can't have downtime anymore. You know, you just can't.
They'll be on Facebook right there.
I mean, and that's the thing. People, it used to be you went home from the races, you had a bad time, you told your wife, maybe you told your neighbor.
Right.
Now you can sit in the stands and tag every person and tell them how horrible they're doing right during it.
Well, the power
that's
of 10.
Changed.
Brian Ramey talks about the power of 10 all the time. One person's going to take away 10 people, and one person's going to bring in 10 people.
Oh, yeah. It's true. You know, because everybody's, if your neighbor doesn't go to the races and they see every week how miserable of a time you have, they certainly aren't going to try it. I can tell you that.
They're not going.
Yeah, right? that's true, you know.
So, PRI, I know you were there. How many years have you been going?
I've been going since 2013 every year. And, you know, for me, it's a chance to see a lot of our sponsors.
Yeah.
You know, obviously Sunoco, Race Fuels and stuff, the higher, you know, Race Tire America, American Racer Tires, and a lot of our product people. You know, Barron's hooks me up with a lot of great people that help us with the series as far as gift certificates. And I don't get to go physically shake their hand. They're having beer or whatever, you know. So it's a good 3 days for me to get out and touch base with everybody. And the seminars, I mean, you can learn a lot there. I recommend it to anybody that's really interested in the business of racing. It's pretty impressive the people you run into. You know, like last year I happened to be in line behind Ken Schrader. He was getting coffee and he's like, "You're the Delaware guy," you know, from coming to the track. Well, that conversation would have never, you know what I mean? It's just, you just need to be there to be around everybody. So,
well, BDmotorsportsmedia.com, right?
Yep.
Follow on schedules. Is a Fonda schedule in there?
TheFondaSpeedway.com, TheGeorgetownSpeedway.com. Everything's updated. Rules and stuff are out for the season. Schedules are out.
Super Series.
And ShortTrackSuperSeries.com.
Okay.
Yep.
So
everything's ready to go.
Brett, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Good luck
for coming down.
We're all crossing our fingers for less rain.
Yeah, well, just sunshine, please.
But thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Chris Moore, Dylan Corcoran behind the camera, and thank you to our guest, Brett Deyo. We'll see you next time.